Hear ye, hear ye. You've entered the First Circuit Court of Gaming Source Network, Judge Avery presiding. 2 litigants enter the courtroom today, but only one will walk away victorious and be named
Best Multiplayer Mechanism of All Time.
Insert coin, press start, and all rise.
You may be seated. Welcome to the best game of all time. My name is Judge Avery, and in this courtroom, the game genie denies all wishes. We're here today to settle a dispute between 2 ways to play together who both believe they have the rights to the title of the best multiplayer mechanism of all time. Let's meet our litigants and their counsel. For the defense, we have Couch Co-op, being represented in my courtroom today by the host of the Holocron Chronicles podcast and co-host of Secret Friends Unite. It's Mark the Canardian. Welcome to the courtroom.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good to have you. Good to have you. For the prosecution, representing online multiplayer, being represented in my courtroom today by the co-founder and co-host of both the Co-op Mode and also the Secret Friends Unite podcast, it's Todd Oxtra. Welcome to the courtroom.
Thank you, Your Honor. But first, I'd like to bring up, can we even have a Canadian officiant on the other end? Is his jurisdiction, does his law degree even coexist in the United States?
This is an international court. We're very much like The Hague, except that it's, StreamYard instead. So, but I guess everybody is kind of right now anyway. So we will recognize both councils' jurisdiction and passage of the bar, the health bar here. Does that work? Health bars? I don't know. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't.
So.
If you,
I'll allow it. Wait, I'm not a judge. I guess can I do that?
Thank you for no. I'm not going to allow that. I'm going to not allow. I'll allow it'll be allowed. We're allowing. Anyways, if you've never witnessed a case in the best game court, here's how it works. Counsel for each litigant will present their arguments over 4 rounds. Justice may be blind, but I'm a nerd. So each round will award points according to the counselor that impresses me most, and the side with the most points at the end of the trial will be declared the best multiplayer mechanism of all time. Now, counselors, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you crossplay?
Yes.
Yes.
You put your hands on a 1984 instruction manual for the Amiga. No. All right, let's begin. Round 1 in the best game of all time is opening statements. Each of our counselors will have up to 5 minutes to present the opening case for their side, and the most impressive opening statement wins 5 points. We will begin in picture order here. So Todd, we'll begin with you. Your opening argument in favor of online multiplayer.
Picture yourself in the present, gentlemen, not the past, where you had to rely on your ugly brother, your annoying sister, your grandmother, who could barely pick up a controller because of her grizzled hands, her incompetence, your little brother's inability to not sit there and pay attention. He'd kick you off the ledge or let you die. Mario kept on dying. You'd pass the controller to your little brother, he'd die too. You wouldn't even get to finish the game. Double Dragon. Do you think you ever finished that game because your friend that's stoned after 420 because he couldn't complete the mission? That's the horror of couch co-op. And I'm telling you, we are in the future, gentlemen, where you can play any game, anytime, online with people that have good abilities, have good internet connections. You can speak, you can mute others, you can drop someone who's horrible, and you can play a game you want on your own schedule. You don't have to set up a play date. You don't have to worry if you got a babysitter for somebody to come over to watch. You can play anytime. And that's what makes gaming today great. Not relying on someone sitting next to your couch and then they get called away because their babies, needs a napkin or a diaper. No. You have friends that can jump in, jump out. You text them, they come online, and you can have a great gaming experience. That's what this is about. An online co-op is about convenience on your own time and whenever you're available, as long as you want to play. But let me guess, when you've got an annoying friend come over, maybe his annoying spouse is annoying your wife, you're stuck with them as long as you are there. Versus you can say, oh, sorry, guys, I got to go. and you can pick up a game with somebody else who's better. This is what online gaming is today. It's cross-platform these days, which is even better. So if your friends are on PC, on mobile often at times, can play where they want conveniently, try that at somebody's house. How do you play Destiny on a couch on the same house together? You got to bring over a second system or something else. It's totally inconvenient. If Mark and I wanted to play, if even we would, being this Canadian, we could, if we wanted to, online, regardless of international borders. Whether it's legal or not, I don't know. It's perfectly a fantastic service that we are given today. Gentlemen, women and men of the court, our esteemed judge, if you don't understand the convenience from a man who does a streaming podcast, I don't know what else I can do to provide you that the proof of evidence that today you'll find that online co-op is the best experience you can have. And we're going to leave co-op couch gaming in the past where it belongs, along with bad co-players.
Thank you, Counselor Oxtra, who's basically just thrown everyone he knows under the bus. So let's hope that you're like, I don't want to play with any of you people. So interesting tactic. Interesting tactic, Counselor. Counselor the Canardian, give us your opening statement in favor of couch co-op.
Your Honor, members of the jury, Todd, it seems, needs better friends, and I feel sorry for his ugly family. Personally, one of my favorite gaming memories is actually my feeble grandmother kicking my brother's ass at Wii Sports. This is one of the best memories I ever have of gaming, rest her soul. And that happened in person, of course. Sure, technology is amazing. The internet has made the past year bearable on so many levels. But as we've all experienced in one way or another this year, many years in the past, and we'll continue experiencing, technology can often fail us. As good as technology is, there's no replacement for the real thing. Getting together in person, sharing laughs, competing, being able to taunt your rivals and celebrate with your teammates just can't be replicated the same way through a headset as it can on a couch or in the same room. It just doesn't feel the same. Couch co-op, playing with other people or playing against other people in the same room, it just feels right. Whether it's memories that we have from the past, like passing a controller back and forth every time you died in Super Mario Brothers, giving yourself stigmata of the hand as you sweated through your underoos trying to beat your teammates and rivals in Super Mario Party, screaming at that cheating bastard who always chooses Odd Job and GoldenEye, or testing the strength of your marriage, currently playing Overcooked, Snipper Clips, or any one of those fun, rage-inducing games that you have to enjoy on a couch to get the full effect. Playing a game with someone sitting next to you is just special. Yes, sometimes you get stuck with the Mad Catz controller with the wonky joystick and the A button that your friend Jeff's gerbil chewed on, but that just makes your victory even sweeter. Modern consoles, they make it so easy. Cheap third-party accessories, they're getting better. We're not stuck with that rusty old controller anymore. They're good quality. And Nintendo even built in-person couch co-op multiplayer into their new system, the Switch, with Joy-Con. Games like Pokemon Go, which you think is a very personal experience on your phone, brought people together, again, in person, out in the real world, to battle, trade, track down digital monsters that you could see in your local parks or around the block. And that brought people together, even though you're staring at your phone. Technology can improve many, many things, but it's at its strongest when it's used to actually bring people together. Anyone that's tried to play Smash Brothers online knows there's no comparison to being able to look over at your friend, smile, and then Falcon punch that mother Falcon right into next Tuesday. Online is great, sure. I'll give you that. There's some experiences that are just amazing online. But this year especially, we're all waiting to be able to be reunited with friends and family. And when we do, we'll be passing the Joy-Con, passing the controller, sitting a little bit too close on the couch and kicking each other's asses. I rest my case.
Thank you, Counselor Mark. This is tough because on the one hand, Todd basically insulted every human he's ever known in one fell swoop. But on the other hand, Mark has now coined the term Stigmata Mario Party. So I think for opening statements, I'm going to have to give this round to Counselor Mark. At the end of round one, unsustained. Sorry, overruled is actually the term there. At the end of round one, Counselor Mark is sitting at 5 points, and Counselor Todd at a big fat 0. But granted, it's only been one round, so you can't really. There's nothing against you. That said, it is time for round 2, and it is time to present your evidence. I'm going to challenge each of our guests on 3 criteria, and you'll each have we'll together have 5 minutes of open debate on each of these 3 criteria. Whichever counselor, I believe, makes the best argument and presents the best evidence for that particular criteria point will award 5 points. So this round is worth a total of 15. Counselor Mark, since you won the last round, we're going to let Counselor Todd begin this one. And the 3 criteria that I'm going to challenge you on in favor of best multiplayer mechanism are going to be as follows. The convenience factor. The convenience of being able to play side by side with somebody you already have versus matchmaking online. The games. What kind of games lend themselves toward that couch experience versus the kind of games that lend themselves toward online? And then lastly, the nostalgia factor. Granted, Counselor Todd has basically done everything in his power to say that old days are terrible, but we'll see what Counselor Mark has to do to reclaim those old days. We're going to begin with the convenience factor, and again, it's open debate, so y'all get to it. We'll start with Counselor Todd, though, to kick us off on this particular topic.
Convenience. We have all of the internet that we have to offer, and that is convenience. We do not have to worry about scheduling someone coming over. Don't have to worry about who's available. Do we have multiple controllers? Do we have the pizza that they'll like because they are very, very picky Canadians? Do they like our beer? Do they fart mid gaming sequence?
Most likely, yes.
These are not things you have to worry about. You come as you are. Do you have to worry about how you're dressed? No, I'm not even wearing pants. That's what's great about being online.
Counselor, you are not wearing pants in my courtroom.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see the evidence.
In your courtroom, I'm in Minnesota. I don't think
we need to see the evidence in any of that. I will disclaim that one, your counselor.
Yes. So, but it's the convenience of play when you want on your own schedule with whatever peripherals you have. You don't have to worry about your players you play with online. If you're having a bad time, mute them, lose them. Message someone else, bring them online with you. If their connection sucks, find somebody who has a better connection. It's so much better. And the amount of games you have now, especially with Game Pass and all these different services, it allows you to jump from one game to very, very quickly, independent of systems that you have. You don't have to worry about, oh, I don't have that game now. Let's download it. Oh, wait, you don't have it? Oh, no, we don't have time. Let's do something else. I mean, if you live in the Stone Age and you have an internet connection of like 12K, I get it, but that's not the world we live in today, gentlemen. This is the world we live in today. It's all about pick up and play and go. Grab your headset, grab your controller, leave the world behind. Don't listen to anyone else and play with anyone you want online. I have personally made friends online out of the blue because we had a great gaming experience versus, are you going to just find a new friend down the street? You don't know your creepy neighbor. He's probably like absconded people, and he's had a John McMuffin, and you'll never see John again. No,
I just met my new neighbors today. They're delightful.
Yes, did you see the body parts in there?
They're great.
As far as you know, have they come knocking at your door? Sorry, sir, we have to notify you that we are. That's coming. That's what you have to worry about.
Living in the States got to be scary stuff. Is that
apparently not only does everyone Todd has ever been related to or know awful, but they also are felons
Yeah.
in his world. But now, Counselor Mark, isn't the whole point of couch co-op you're playing the games you already have? Why would there be a challenge there?
That's accurate. Yeah, I mean, you're playing the games. You already have these games. They're already either there or downloaded, or you're excited to play something new. And what's more convenient than just handing someone a controller? Everyone who's ever played an online game, doesn't matter if you all have the game downloaded. I know for a fact, Todd's experienced this when we've tried to play with friends, that something won't work. The voice chat won't work. You won't all connect to the same lobby. There's hiccups, and no matter how fast your gigabit internet connection is, there's always going to be something in the way. Now, yes, sometimes you can find a dead controller or something like that, but for the most part, I'm pretty prepared. I have about 8 Joy-Con in my house, so if I have 4 people over, I think we're pretty good. And aside from regular and regular controllers on top of that, so there's nothing easier or more convenient, especially with the Switch and other consoles. But there's nothing more convenient than just handing someone a controller and having some fun. And that's
until
that's
the Joy-Con drifts, Your Honor. Then you have to look at your friend's face. He looks at you,
still drift
accusing
online.
glances. Then friendships are broken, all because of faulty hardware. That's not convenient. That's inconvenient, and it leads to
playing
stress.
Fortnite online with my nephew last night, and I'm trying to revive him, and he's crawling away slowly and saying, "I'm not touching the controller. I'm not touching the controller." That happens online too. That's a horseshit argument.
So you're saying I'm saying
drift. I'm saying drift can happen anywhere. Drift can happen anywhere. But I
think
it's
Mark
much
is
more
a common
convenient.
connector here. I think he is unlucky. Notice we had a problem with you and your nephew. Mark, don't blame the online convenience. Blame it on what you bring to the table.
I mean, granted, we do have beavers and sharks that constantly attack the internet cables, either running through our streets or running underwater.
I really didn't know where you were going with that, and it took me a while to see the connection between beavers and sharks. That is a B movie waiting to happen.
I actually just read an article about sharks attacking underwater fiber optic cables, so that's legit. So when that happens, when the sharks take over and take out the global internet, what are you going to do? You're going to play couch co-op, and that's super convenient because you already have
unless you're living in a pandemic. And then what do?
You have a family. Play with them.
We already know Todd doesn't like
his family. I know. I personally love playing games on the couch with my wife. Can't wait till my son's old enough to pick up a controller and kick his ass at Mario Kart. It's going to be fun stuff. He's 11 months old, and I'm already being like, I know you're going to pick Toad. I'm going to crush you.
Mark, have you ever played games with a 15-year-old?
Yes.
They are horrible people. They are.
I was 15 and I played with myself.
Yes, you did.
Constantly.
Gabble.
You were the Wii champion. You were the Wii champion. Yes.
All right. I think I've heard enough evidence on this particular factor. If only for giving us Beaver NATO, I'm going to have to go with Mark on this one.
So little catchphrases wins points. I'll take note.
I'm starting to figure out how this court works.
This court is easily swayed. Let's talk about the game. So since you're talking about that, the stigmata Mario Party and all those kind of things, let's talk about the games. Obviously, the type of games that you're going to play on the couch next to somebody are wildly different than the type of games that you're going to play over the internet. So give me your best pitch for which games and why those games are better suited and better gaming experiences because of the way that you're playing. Since we started with Counselor Todd last time, we'll start with Counselor Mark this time.
Your Honor, this is a tough one. This is going to come down to personal choice, really. For me,
yes, but we're in my court, so you have to sway me.
Perfect, I will. So for me, I don't know about you, but for me, I like to play games to escape. I like to play games to have fun at the end of a long day, the end of a hard day. I want to sit down and I want to be transported to somewhere else. Now, couch co-op allows you to do that. It's fun. There's games like the Mario games, whether that's kart, sports, party, new games, old games, whatever you want to play. there's something about couch co-op, and when you want to feel a little competitive, there's something there for that as well. Smash Brothers or, trivia games, that kind of stuff. Everything works right there when you have people in that same room. And anyone who's ever been teabagged, you know why that's not a great stress relief to go online and play competitively there. And most of the online games that you're going to find yourself playing or that are more popular, they are those high stress shooting games, competition games, and they have their purpose. But for my money, the games that I want to play most of the time, they're going to be fun. That's what I want to do, to play and have fun. And there's nothing more fun than sitting on a couch and playing with someone.
Or yourself, Mark.
Well, couch single op in that case. Counselor Todd, are the games just not as much fun if they're online?
No, they're far more fun. I mean, if you think about what Mark mentioned, there's not very many couch co-op games, and that's the biggest problem. They're shrinking. There's not as many being added. So essentially, you're left with Nintendo being the primary, and then maybe a few others. The majority of games people want to play together are your Destinies, your Divisions, your Overwatches, things like that. Even Mark's favorite Fortnite.
Call 1 second.
Even
He's going to tell you off like he told the Oscars off.
Even Mark in his love of Fortnite, you can't play that locally. So it becomes a scenario of the biggest games in the world are all online. It's where everybody is to play. You aren't playing. If you want to play online co-op, couch co-op, bring your system over and another TV. You can play together on your couch, but you have to play online. And that is the way the world is going. You see, even to play some games with Nintendo, it's very hard to play co-op with a Switch Lite because then you have to bring Joy-Cons to the table. So there's a lot of, you just see the way the world is going, and the games that are playing, like Destiny, like I said, is one of my favorite games of all time. Outriders is fantastic. You see more games, sports games, most are online together. And just as you see those games fall away, it's really online where your friends are going to play with you. And I would say this, a lot of platforms like PC, there's really no such thing as couch co-op because you're not in that mode. So I would say that's another platform. Streaming, unless you're playing Stadia on your couch, you're typically doing it on a smaller screen where it's harder to play with other people in that format. So I would say the games I like to play when I play online and multiplayer are ultimately almost always going to be online versus co-op. I've had Mario 3D World that my son keeps telling me we're going to play online, but he'd rather play Outriders. Maybe it's me, I don't know, but he wants to play an online game. And you just
called everyone you know ugly, including your son. So I understand why he doesn't want to play with you. And I don't think anyone can pass judgment on you like Joseph Ferris can. So there's that. Look at that handsome man. He's just staring you down.
Mark, he's in my Destiny clan.
I have no idea who that is. Should I know who that is?
He makes couch co-op games.
Yes,
recently,
he does.
It Takes Two.
Yes,
that's he's the couch co-op guy. He won't even let you play the game solo for the most part. He just wants you to play.
But he gives you away an online code to play that with somebody else a game. Not locally.
I suppose. But the best way is not online. It's in person.
So I think for this one is tough because it really does depend on the kind of games that you like. So in the absence of any actual I'm getting choked up about this topic. In the absence of any actual criteria to judge this one, just the fact that I just stopped playing Final Fantasy XIV to come and do the show, I'm going to have to give this one to online. So we'll give that one to Counselor Todd. But let's talk about the nostalgia factor. We are all children of the 80s who had the pizza parties and all those kind of things, or who did the rating on WoW back in the day. So the nostalgia factor has a lot to do. The good feelings you build when you think about multiplayer have a lot to do with nostalgia for maybe how the games that you played multiplayer in the past. So, Counselor Todd, we'll let you kick this this piece of evidence off. Give us the nostalgia factor and why the online multiplayer nostalgia beats out over the couch co-op.
Wow, depends on your age, to be honest. My age, there was no internet. We had dial-up, so I am unfortunately not the one that, from personally nostalgia.
Todd, how was the Truman administration, by the way?
You know what? I didn't like their stance on tariffs, and quite honestly, taxing tobacco was a bad idea because then we had to import it from Canada, and that's how we got the drug problems we have today. So thank you, Canada. Moving forward, but just looking at my son's generation, I mean, I can't remember the last friend he had over to play online, and everybody
his dad hates everyone.
That's true. But regardless,
my daddy thinks you're ugly and you're not allowed in our house.
Yeah. But still, I mean, just growing up nowadays, kids are not doing couch co-op experiences. So current generations, that's not their nostalgia space. Their nostalgia is going to be the first time my son played online with his friends. And you see that more and more and more. So I'm not going to look to the past in my grizzled old days of, hopefully I could, potentially play online with somebody on my, Packard Hell 486. That was a horrible experience. So yes, I guarantee you if you went back 20 years, that was not perfect. You had to go to like your LAN parties or potentially have your dial-up or LAN net or something, AOL.com dial-up. No, nobody wants to talk about that. But we're talking about the future and my son's nostalgia, which is just, 8 years ago, it's all online and playing with his friends, playing online with Minecraft and those type of games. So I think depending on your age group, I will guarantee you, yes, there is a lot of nostalgia in, the whippersnapper Mark's group. But then, that's just kind of the bad old days anyways. I mean, think about it. I mean, is there nostalgia for having a piece of cardboard cutting in 4 pieces so you can play GoldenEye, in a 27-inch flat, 85-pound TV? No, that's horrible.
100%.
Oh, it's horrible. Tripping over cords, doing that. Then your mom yells at you. That's nostalgia. That's torture. That's your
sleepovers, mixing every different kind of pop.
Oh,
having
my God.
4 bags of party mix and some ketchup chips. That might be just a Canadian thing, but you know
and
what?
Then Tony pukes in your NES, and then the game is over, and your mom gets pissed.
It's great.
Yes. So I would say
you
nostalgia.
Can't see afterwards because Jeff's mom smoked 4 packs of menthols right behind you guys. It's all good.
And then you saw her take her top off in the other room, Mark, when you didn't.
It's all right.
The door was open. You got scarred. That's not nostalgia. That's horror.
It's all
Counselor Mark, take us back to your pizza party days. In this case,
you know what? Nostalgia. When you're looking back, it doesn't matter if it's current or you're actually looking in the past. Your best memories are going to be with people close to you. Todd, what are you petting right now? I'm sorry, my ADD's kicking in. Is that a cat or a penguin? What is this?
Don't let me distract you with Mr.
I'm definitely distracted. You know what I'm My brain's a squirrel on cocaine.
Counselor, order. I will have order in my courtroom.
All right. So
stop petting things on a predominantly audio medium.
That definitely was a penguin, right? All right, cool. Anyway,
it was a raven, but
oh, a raven. Okay, yeah. I got thrown off by the white scarf. Anyone
like
listening to this is just like, this guy's off the rails. But anyway, okay, let's get back. Nostalgia time. All right. So what was I saying?
Let's think back to when you were making an argument about nostalgia.
The audience, they're making up all these distractions. It's not really there. They're buying time. They don't have a good audience.
Let's don't have a good argument for 4 seconds ago when I could actually pay attention to something. So nostalgia, no, it doesn't matter if you're making current memories or if you're thinking of memories in the past. The best memories are going to be those that you were there in person when you had someone there, whether it is my grandmother kicking my brother's ass at Wii Sports or playing with my brother and my friends growing up and, sitting down, playing GoldenEye, playing Mario Kart, playing Mario Party, playing, any kind of multiplayer game that we could get our hands on, or even playing single player games and just taking turns passing the controller back and forth. Those all happened when we were all sitting in the same living room. Yes, the TVs were small and crappy, but the games were amazing, and the games continue to be amazing that you play in person with your friends and with your family. And there's nothing quite like being able to sit there and enjoy those gaming moments together, whether you're competing or you're playing together cooperatively. you just can't beat that feeling of sitting there and accomplishing something with other people actually in the room.
So on this particular criteria, I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record because I'm going to have to give this one again to Mark. And the reason is Todd's entire argument about nostalgia was not even his own nostalgia. It was somebody else's nostalgia. So we did. I did not
that's
ask
an
you to present
ageist.
testimony.
That's an ageist argument, Your Honor.
I have nostalgia for playing online. Look, the early days of Xbox, playing online and trying to get Halo matches going. I remember those. I could have said those if I was fighting your cause. But guess what? All the best gaming memories, nostalgia-wise, are all sitting down. It doesn't matter if it's going to be 20 years from now or 20 years ago. You're going to remember sitting down and kicking your son's ass or getting your ass kicked in Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, or whatever other kind of games that you're playing together cooperatively in the same room.
Okay.
There are more future
Counselor,
days
you already won the point.
I would say there's more future nostalgia with online than there is on couch co-op. It's a dying breed. Enjoy your win while it lasts and you breathe your breaths, old man.
Well, we will see just what kind of win we get when we move into round 3, the cross-examination. Going into round 3, our score is currently Counselor Mark sitting at 15 points to Counselor Todd's 5 points. But there are many, many more points up for grabs in cross-examination. We're going to see how well you've been paying attention to your opponent's arguments, as they've likely already prepared you for the cross-examination. I'm going to present 5 trivia questions about your opponent's topic to you to see if you've been paying attention and if you happen to have done your research before we got started today. If you happen to miss, and no research, no referencing other aids, close the Wikipedia tabs as we go. If you happen to miss that question, your opponent can take over their area of expertise and steal it. If you get it, it's 5 points. If they steal it, it's 3. And because last week's questions were a little on the tough side, we've added a brand new option to the courtroom today. You can object. If I've written just too darn hard of a question, all you have to do is say, I object to up to 2 of your questions, and I will give you a hint for that question to try to make it a little easier for you. We are going to start, because he is behind at the moment, we are going to start with Counselor Todd.
I just gave Mark a head start.
Exactly, and now you'll make up that space. So up to 25 points are up for grabs for you right now. Counselor Todd, since you are here to defend online multiplayer, I'm going to ask you 5 questions about couch co-op. These questions should get harder as they go. That didn't necessarily happen last week, so we'll find out. We'll find out. Question number 1 for couch co-op. Counselor Todd, one of the mechanisms to expand your couch co-op capability is a multi-tap system, allowing more than 2 players to play on a traditionally 2-player console. 2 of the earliest of these were released for the original Nintendo Entertainment System. Name either of the NES's multi-tap devices. And I will remind you that you can object, but you might want to save those as we go.
You got this one, Todd, or you want me to steal it for you?
Also being released on audio, so staring blankly into the camera.
Awkward silence later. Do you want to pass it to the guy that ran a Nintendo podcast for 6 years? I'm going to call
it the Mario Centipede of multiplayer. I don't know.
Centipede. All right, I like it.
Unfortunately, that is not correct. Counselor Mark, can you steal?
We're going to go 4 score.
That is correct. Do you happen to know the other one?
No.
Was it really the multi-tap?
It was that 4 score was the name of their multi-tap. Their other one was the satellite. Not only was that multi-tap, it was also wireless. It was an infrared device.
Really?
So there we go. All right. 3 points to Counselor Mark. Question number 2. If you don't get this one, it's gonna be a problem. Okay. If you want to play computer games together in the same household, you might have to throw a LAN party. What does LAN stand for?
Is it me?
No, this is to Counselor Todd.
Oh,
This is
local area network.
That is correct. Local area network. Todd, back on the board. I'm sure you're feeling just so happy about that. Question number 3. A game that has been mentioned a few times tonight. GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64 grossed more than $250 million worldwide, according to the ESA. GoldenEye was based on the 1995 James Bond of the same name. James Bond film, who played Bond in that film and was also featured on the cover of the game.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan is correct. 5 points to Counselor Todd. All right. Sticking with previously mentioned and wildly popular Nintendo multiplayer games, let's talk about Mario Party. The early installments of this minigame-heavy series were all originally published by Nintendo, but developed by what studio who closed their doors in 2012? And don't forget, you can't object to these last 2 questions because you only have 2 of them left.
Mario Party developer closed their doors. Oh my god. Oh, I object.
I will give you a hint. The logo of this game company features a bee.
Oh, Hudson Soft.
Damn it.
Hudson Soft is
I completely
correct.
forgot
that
about
one.
that company. Holy cow.
Yep, they developed most of the first few, and then it has since moved to an in-house subsidiary. All right, question number 5, the impossibly difficult question. We'll see if you get this one. If you've got a lot more than 4 people on your couch, you might want to consider a Jackbox Party Pack as your local co-op game of choice. The Jack in Jackbox Games comes from the 26-year-old irreverent quiz game franchise You Don't Know Jack, which even had its release on Ouya, on the Ouya. If y'all remember the Ouya. For this question, I'm going to give you the points if you can name either A, the fictional name of the host of many of the You Don't Know Jack editions that begins with a C. Give you a little hint there. Or B, the actor that played the host, Troy Stevens, on the 6-episode 2001 ABC game show version of You Don't Know Jack.
Oh my. Oh no. Oh no.
Seems
I
to
object.
know it.
He's been fed knowledge by some
My
his
dogs.
wife is in the room. I know this. Loren, are you there? I see you.
All right.
There we go. Look, it's me and my dog. She's right down there. Just me.
All right.
Sure.
Well, we are going to we'll give you a hint for one of the 2 of these. The ABC host also appeared in the movies Matilda and Batman Returns.
Oh, Danny DeVito.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
What?
Mark,
Who else
can
was
you
in there?
steal on either of these
No.
two items?
Mr. Pee Wee Herman. Paul Rubens.
That is correct.
He
Paul
was in
Rubens.
Matilda? I did not know that.
He was one of the FBI agents in Matilda, and he was
Stayed
Danny
over there.
DeVito, Oswald Cobblepot's father in
That one I knew.
in Batman Returns. I very intentionally picked those 2 movies, knowing that you would say Danny.
Holy
DeVito.
cow.
Mark, do you happen to know the name of the host on the You Don't Know Jack series that starts with a C?
No.
Is Cookie Masterson.
Cookie Masterson.
Okay.
Nice.
He's not the host of all of them, but the host of many of them. At the end of that round of cross-examination, Todd has added 15 points to his score of 5, bringing him to a total of 20. And Mark has added 6 points to his score of 15, bringing him to 21 and still in the lead. And he has 5 questions in his cross-examination. Counselor Mark, since you've been defending Couch Co-op, I'm going to ask you 5 questions about online multiplayer. Here we go. Question number 1. Crossplay is one of the most important elements that make online multiplayer work, given the various platforms you can play on. What MMORPG released in 2002 from Square Enix featured crossplay between the PlayStation 2 and PC? Don't put numbers up on your screen because Mark might see them. But certainly Todd seems to know this one for the steal if he needs to.
Okay, wait. PS2, what year?
This was in 2002. Mark with a furrowed brow. I'm going to give you 5
Final
seconds.
Fantasy VIII.
Final Fantasy VIII is not correct. Counselor Oxtra, can you steal?
Was it EverQuest 2?
I love how he's like stretching that out as if I will give him some form of indication and let him
He was
stop
definitely
halfway through his
expecting.
answer.
Yeah.
I am sorry. It was Final Fantasy 11.
Oh,
Final Fantasy 11.
Oh, I thought Sony. I thought of EverQuest. Sorry. Yeah.
No, Square Enix. Square Enix. All right. Question number 2. One of the challenges with online multiplayer is monetization. If you're not charging a subscription fee, you've got to make money somewhere, and loot boxes and microtransactions are one way to do that. What studio made headlines on Reddit for saying that unlocking characters in Star Wars Battlefront 2 through gameplay that could be shortcutted through microtransactions would give the players a sense of pride and accomplishment?
Yeah.
That is correct. Electronic Arts. Sense of pride and accomplishment in grinding for 60 hours to get Dark.
So you throw the Star Wars podcast host.
I didn't even realize.
I see where this is.
I didn't even realize when I wrote the question.
I also
Honor, I
host a
didn't check
video
your
game
bank
podcast
accounts.
too, Todd. I mean, to be fair, that one's
All right.
You know.
Question number 3 on online multiplayer. The term massively multiplayer online role-playing game was coined by the legendary developer behind the Ultima video game series, amongst others. For the points, give either the real name of this one-time astronaut or his well-known in-game alias. Don't forget, you do have your iObjects if you need them. You get 2 of the last 3 questions here.
Okay. Could you repeat the question?
Absolutely. The term MMORPG was coined by the legendary developer behind the Ultima video game series, amongst others. For the points, give either the real name of this one-time astronaut or his well-known in-game alias. The deep sigh from the Canadian. That's a Canadian sigh if I've ever heard one. It's A.
I don't know.
3-second warning here. All right.
Go ahead, Todd.
Not taking the guess. Counselor Todd, can you steal?
Lord British.
That is correct. If you had asked for the hint, I would have told you that he's not Duke America.
I still would not have gotten that.
That's okay. It's okay. All right. You still have both your objections, so we might be in a good place here. Number 4, sticking with MMORPGs.
Oh, Jesus.
What is the name?
RPGs of any kind are not my forte, so you're kicking my ass here.
There we go. Good to know. Speaking of sticking with MMORPGs, what is the name of the game considered to be the first fully graphical multi-user online RPG originally delivered via America Online and based on a D&D franchise?
I'll take my hint on this one.
You got to say the thing. Say that it's court.
Objection.
Thank you. Here's the hint. A game of the same name was published by BioWare in 2002. He's thinking. The wheels are turning.
Neverwinter Nights.
It's an audio. Neverwinter Nights is correct. Good.
There we go.
Good pull and good use of the objection. All right. Last question, and we'll see about this one. This one should be fun. Though we
They've
never
been a
got to
blast
see
so
it.
far.
Mark's like, why
I'm
did
actually
I agree?
sweating right now. Like physically.
How many hit points does this elf get?
Legit. Yeah. I'm just waiting. Yeah. What was the name of the third elf that you met in Tamriel?
All right. Here we go. Number 5. the possibly impossibly difficult question. Though we never got to see it here in the States, Nintendo's first foray into online gaming started as early as the Super Famicom, aka the SNES, in Japan in 1995. What was the name of the modem device you could connect to your Super Famicom to play online games, read magazines, and listen to the radio? You still have your other objection if you need it.
Yeah.
You still have your other objection.
Okay.
If you
Yeah.
need it.
Objection. I want to get this one right.
just in case. All right. Here's your hint. It was a satellite modem system. A satellite modem system.
Oh shit! Because I was thinking family network system. You're throwing me off with the satellite thing. I'm gonna stick with Famicom network system.
Famicom network system, unfortunately, is not correct.
Damn it.
Counselor Todd, can you steal on the possibly impossible question?
So a man who ran a Nintendo podcast does not know about the Satellaview.
It was the Satellaview.
Wow. All right.
Yes, because it was a satellite modem system. Hence the Satellaview. All right. So
You're making me finish my beer, Todd.
Mark, have you ever heard of Zelda BS? That was the game that was on there. It had live missions that you played.
They had several hundred games. And it was very highly supported by many developers. All right. At the end of that round, adding to his scores, Mark has added 10 more points, bringing him up to 31. Todd has added 6 more points, bringing him up to 26. But it is time for your closing arguments. I'm going to give you one last chance to plead your case. And because ultimately I'm not going to remember anything else you said, the winner of this round gets 50 points and wins the game. So because you are behind,
this whole thing's been
at
like,
the moment,
the points are made up and the everything's made up and the points don't matter. This is good stuff.
No idea what you're talking
Your
about.
Honor,
I
he's
look like Drew Carey.
can you listen to that weak argument? He's attacking Your Honor. This is
Are you
ridiculous.
attacking the integrity of this court?
Not at all. I love Whose Line Is It Anyway? Are you kidding me?
There we go. All right. The points do matter here in the last question. So for your closing arguments, again, you will have up to 5 minutes to plead the case for your side. And because he is currently behind, we will start with Counselor Todd. Counselor Todd, please deliver your closing argument for online multiplayer.
Your Honor, if you remember nothing, remember one thing. In this pandemic, how did we survive? Did we survive with couch co-op, or did we survive with online play? How did Mark play Animal Crossing? The game that saved the world and got Nintendo how many copies sold? They played online. This is what
my wife in the same room.
Counselor, this is closing arguments. We'll let Counselor Todd complete his argument.
I see your legal brief is showing, Counselor. But regardless, once again, how did we survive in these times, and how did people really reimagine gaming? Look how the sales of gaming's just exploded. You saw online services just people embrace gaming that never done that before, because they could play with people they couldn't connect personally with. It brought people together any time of day. It brought them together to play Jackbox online, people who don't normally game together. It brings people together in ways we never even imagined, and it's doing more so every day. You see, what did Xbox just launch? They launched cloud gaming, so you can game anywhere, and you can do it with many other people. That's just something that couch co-op can never do. You're limited with who's available and where they're at. That is the limiter that a lot of us have to deal with, especially as we move away from our family and friends. This is the future. It's easy, it's convenient, and it's the way we live online. It's the way to have to beat a boss together online. It's these experiences. It's playing silly games online with Jackbox. It's getting that first raid victory with people you met from across the world and are now friends you have forever. That's the wonder of online gaming. That's where we're headed. And that is where we stand. And it's how we live.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Mark, your closing argument. You may proceed.
Your Honor, Todd's right. Through this pandemic, online multiplayer has really helped out. However, everyone's just waiting for this pandemic to be over so we can play together again in person. Because whether it's tournaments, cons, or just family game night with family or friends, playing together in person is better. For anyone who's ever been on the receiving end of a 12-year-old's racially charged rugrat roid rage in Call of Duty, for any person who's had their teammate quit mid-match, for anyone who's dealt with their teammate with no mic, or a teammate who you'd swear keeps their mic inside their freaking mouths, or munches on what sounds like a mixture of glass shards and gravel while listening to Limp Bizkit's greatest hits way too loud in the background. For those people, us long-suffering people who've had to deal with this kind of shenanigans online, for the time that you couldn't turn on the same couch and punch those idiots in the arm, the neck, or right upside the head, and you know you've wanted to. For those people and for those times, please consider local co-op as the best way to play. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Did you ever punch your grandmother?
Yes,
Apparently,
I said rest her soul.
So Todd may
The curse of the Carabins kills again.
So Todd may hate everyone in his family, but Mark will do something about it.
That's my main argument is that when people piss you off online, you can't do anything. When people piss you off in person, you can punch them upside the head.
Mark didn't tell you about the one time he swatted his nephew.
Argument over. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, counselors. Okay. I have to say, you've given me quite a bit to think about as we consider this case. Obviously, the challenge that is before this court is to determine which one of these two mechanisms will be the best of all time. We're not here to decide what's the best right now. We're here to decide what the best multiplayer mechanism of all time is. That's all time past. That's all time forward. So when I think about the arguments that you've made, particularly when it comes to Counselor Todd's arguments for online multiplayer, his arguments circle back to this is what we're doing now. This is the now. Whereas Counselor Mark's arguments are, well, this is what we used to do, and this is what we're going to do again. It's a very hopeful argument, whereas Counselor Todd's a very pragmatic argument. And so this court has to consider a question of access. This court has to consider a question of convenience, a question of nostalgia. Is this court swayed by tales of the horrible people that live in Todd's neighborhood that apparently are ugly and violent? Or does this court feel swayed by the fact that Mark himself is simply violent? And I won't comment on the ugly part because that would not be fair of me. But I think what this boils down to is simply a matter of the mental picture that you paint in your head when you think about which is the best multiplayer mechanism. And in this case, Counselor Mark, in his closing arguments, painted a mental picture of, and I quote, a 12-year-old's racially charged Rugrats roid rage. And I have to say that that is a compelling argument against online multiplayer, because if you're going to have, and this court quotes, a 12-year-old racially charged Rugrats roid rage happen, you want to be able to give them the backhand while you're in the room. This court does not condone violence, of course, but apparently that's what's happening up in Canada.
One is
Counselor, order. The verdict. This court finds in favor of local co-op. Local co-op, you are the best multiplayer mechanism of all time. Counselor Todd and
This
Counselor
court is
Mark,
out of order. You're out of order.
we
You're
will
out
hold
of
you
order.
in contempt. We will hold
I-
you in contempt. I will have Mark drag you away
I
violently.
hold you in contempt.
I hold myself in contempt. Counselors, it has been an absolute blast to have you in our courtroom today. While Mark composes himself, Counselor
mercy.
Oxtra, tell us about Secret Friends Unite and where folks, as he berates his raven, tell us where, tell us about your podcasts and give us your plugs, and then tell us where people can find you.
Oh wow. So yeah, believe it or not, me and this knucklehead Mark over here do a podcast called the Co-op Mode Podcast. So and we do it bi-weekly. It's international. We cross borders. There's no extra fee. There's no need to have a passport. You can listen every other week. Mark keeps me unhinged as much as possible.
As you can tell.
As much as possible. Avery has been on this podcast. It's fantastic. And if people would like to be a guest and talk about all things gaming, please do so. Mark does a fantastic Star Wars podcast, Mark.
Yeah.
If people want to find you specifically online, Todd, where can they?
Oh, me? Oh, God. I was going to compliment Mark some more. Because believe it or not, we like each other.
Yes.
yes.
I got to get you at least 2 more Twitter followers as payment for being on our show.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes.
Because otherwise we're not paying you.
So, yeah. So the main thing I do is a Secret Friends Unite podcast. That's all about geek media. And Avery will actually be on that podcast very soon. That's at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Follow us there. And if you like our video game talk that you just heard a little bit now, that's the Co-op Mode Podcast. Follow Twitter for that as well.
You will find that link in the description box down below. Counselor Mark, tell us about your shows and your nerdy endeavors and where people can find you.
Well, like Todd said, you can find me on Co-op Mode every 2 weeks. On the alternating 2 weeks, you can find me on a Star Wars show with Todd's Secret Friends Unite co-host Charlie, and we talk about basically all things Star Wars, especially the new things that come out in canon. So a lot of comic books. We're getting ready to cover the Bad Batch as that comes up in May. So very exciting stuff over on Holocron Chronicles as well. But you can find everything at Secret Friends U on Twitter. And if you want to follow me and my kind of shenanigans, which usually involves video games or my kid, you can follow me _Canardian.
_Canardian. You can follow the best game of all time on Twitter at the Best Game Pod. It's right over there in the corner if you had any questions. And of course, we are a GSN podcast, the Gaming Source Network, your number one source for all things gaming. You can follow us online at Gaming Source Net. And of course, always check out our other sources, Stadia Source at Stadia Source and GeForce Now Source at GFN Source. You can catch me on a regular basis as the host of the wildly popular GSN Roundtable podcast, nay, Stadia Source Roundtable podcast. Now that we've grown, we've added some more things to that. And you can always catch me online at Charm City A. Counselors, I appreciate you being in the courtroom tonight. And for those of you out there who have a game you might represent, if you think it's the best game of all time, there's only one way to win the case, and that's in my courtroom right here on the Gaming Source Network. Court is adjourned.
Well fought, Todd.
Good game, sir.